What's up, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in. Today I'm here with my friend Rob once again, and we are going to continue on with the 240SX by hopefully clearing out the rest of the engine bay so we can move a little bit closer to getting this thing ready for paint. As you guys saw in the last episode, we finally got the engine out of this thing, so with all of this extra space, we can move on to removing everything else one system at a time. We've already removed the AC compressor. This didn't have any refrigerant to begin with because there's a pretty bad leak somewhere in the system that I just never got checked, so we didn't have to go get the refrigerant sucked out, which if it was fully charged, it's wise to go take it somewhere that can actually pull all that stuff out so you're just not releasing refrigerant into the atmosphere. But since we didn't have to worry about that, we just unhooked the lines and it was all said and good. Now we're going to move on to removing the power steering system.
Let's try to dump it again.
Our siphon didn't work, so I guess this'll
So next best thing.
this'll work. So for ease of transport and stuff, we're going to take out the pump, the reservoir, and these hard lines out as one piece, just to keep it all together right now. So I'm doing these lines down here and everything up there.
Just pick that up and
lifts
drain
out.
that into the... This is a pretty minimal mess.
Nice. Not like last time, huh?
Yeah. Because you want to make sure whatever kit you're buying isn't going to sit right in the way of your
That's the thing I'm worried about the most is clearance, because this the Z32 booster already sticks out about 1.5 inches further than the original one. So with the top mount manifold and the downpipe and stuff, there's going to be a lot going on right there. I'm going to go ahead and start taking apart everything for the air conditioning system, trying to keep in mind what we did with the power steering and just undo the necessary stuff so it'll all come out without any hassle. Oh, just comes off like that. So when it comes to reinstalling air conditioning, I'm still not exactly sure of the right way to do it. I know there's a bunch of people that have done it with RB25s. Like, in my head, it makes sense to be able to reuse like the S13 style system and just get custom lines, but the biggest problem that I know we're gonna have is clearance. Because like with the subframe and stuff, like the engine's gonna sit like way far forward, and if you got a radiator and then fans here, I don't know if you're gonna have to like get a touch set up and lose the condenser.
Like, so the radiator can get tucked too.
So if we do that, then we can't have the stock condenser. You'd have to have like a custom one or something. I don't know. There's still a lot to figure out with that. All right. Nice. Can't wrap my head around like where to fit stuff. Like I know things are gonna have to be cut and whatnot.
You're gonna probably have to modify this piece anyway, because you're gonna probably have to put your radiator here.
Yeah.
Then the condenser, then your intercooler.
I don't think the radiator I have will go under there.
Well, you might have to. That's why you might have to modify this piece. Yeah.
It won't be the last thing I gotta try to figure out over here.
That's the thing, because I mean, this car is made for a 4-cylinder, so especially if you want to keep your AC, like that's gonna be what's gonna make it hard wanting to keep the AC. Boom.
All right. Another thing that I really want to try to do here is to clean up the engine bay and not have so much clutter once the new engine is in. One big problem, all these plastic brackets that hold these lines in, they're so brittle. Most of them are broken anyway. I want to try to figure out a new solution for this so we don't have to use these clips anymore, which that one just broke. And we could just have a nicer looking bay at the end of it all. Just break every single one of them in the process. Take off the lower wire harness now so we can move on to getting the fuse box out of here. Or one of them at least. So got this one.
And then it runs up on your...
Let's see.
We're going to have to put it on. We'll probably wait to take that out to take the fenders and stuff out. Because it runs up. And then we're going to have to go on the car, and it goes through the car, and it's a big plug.
Oh. Here's the pressure regulator.
Yeah, this is just... What is this one?
This is the gauge. So next step is going to be removing the front fenders so we can get better access to the wire harness and some of the other stuff that's tucked in here. We got to take off the front flaps because one of the bolts we have to get at for this is behind the flap.
I don't think these fenders have ever been off before.
It's a good thing.
Pretty sure this is the last bolt.
Oh, sweet.
One down. Taking them bolts free, boy.
Always forget about the connector at the last minute.
You'd have to forget about it. You're not doing it right if you don't forget about it.
Take the headlights out.
Yeah.
All right, we are moving along pretty good. With the fenders off, we have better access now to get the wire harness out. We can remove that windshield washer jug because the intercooler piping is going to have to come down through there. Same thing with this little plastic box thing over here that was part of the original intake. We're going to have to get rid of that because the piping is going to come back around and up through there. We're going to focus our efforts on the front end in just a second, but while I'm over here, I'm going to go ahead and take off the little module for the cruise control, which it didn't work to begin with, so I guess you can't really miss what you didn't have. And I honestly don't know if you can make cruise control work with the RB. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So to get access to some of the bolts down here for the headlights, we're actually raising the headlights up manually, which I didn't know you could do. That's pretty cool.
Might as well clean that.
Cool.
More weight reduction.
All right, now we can take off the washer bottle assembly. There's a brace here, there's a brace there. So we'll pull all this stuff out. Probably gonna try to think of a different solution for this because obviously the intercooler is gonna come down here. So maybe there's like a remote reservoir we could put up here or something. Yeah, see how she goes. Let that drain out. I can remove one more bolt here to release this bracket and drop it down.
Another piece down.
Now we're going to work on pulling the wire harness from the car. This side comes out into the wheel well here. It extends up here, wraps around to the fuse box, so we'll be pulling that out. Then it comes through here, under the core support, all the way through here. You can see the conduit. We're also, at some point I'm going to do a wire tuck, so the wire will eventually be coming up here to give a little bit more clearance for the tires, just in case. And then there's a big plug right inside here, so we're gonna have to go inside the car and plug that, and we should be able to lift all this stuff out.
You're gonna have to probably unbolt that whole fuse box.
Okay.
It basically plugs into the back of that fuse box. It's like another one. You remember the computer plug?
Yeah,
How it had the bolt that you unscrewed, and that's like what held it in?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay. Well, I guess you can say that escalated pretty quickly, huh?
Oh yeah.
So, there was a lot more to taking out the harness than I thought, or maybe we thought, right?
Yeah, I forgot how much you got to disconnect under there.
Yeah, so it's not just, we went to disconnect the fuse box and then that big white plug, and then it all snakes behind the instrument cluster, goes to the ignition switch and stuff, so had to take out everything. But we got a lot of clearance to get access to that booster now, which is going to be nice. I guess the next step is to start feeding this bad boy through the firewall.
We'll only have to contort our backs a little bit more to get the booster out, and then we can relax it.
Sounds good to me. So Rob had to cram himself in the car to take the other side out with the computer, so now I get that job. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull on it a little bit, and you kind of just feed that, make sure like...
You got that big white plug.
Is that coming up right now?
Yeah. Yeah, get that first one out. You can get that little box.
There, now see how much easier that fits through? Boom.
Got it?
Yep, there we go.
Woo!
That went smoothly.
Oh, it hurts.
That was the easy part, I guess. Yeah, you might feel that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit later. Old.
That was a little more difficult than the engine harness one.
A little bit. That's
It's
crazy.
because of that. I'm pretty sure they call this the SMJ connector, super multifunction something. I forget what it stands for, but
Okay.
yeah, SMJ. That's what Nissan.
I can't wait to put this all back together. Woo!
Yeah, putting the engine in the car is less contorting than that.
This side was way easier to take out. That little grommet, and then these two little connectors, and just popping out a bunch of little clips along the way.
Can I see that little bit too? Thank you. Sort of an important piece.
Like I was saying earlier, for someone who's never done this before, this really, really stresses me out. It's like, oh my god, what have I done?
We're doing some serious operations on your cars right now. You could have to put it all back together by yourself, right?
Yeah, I'll give it a try. It's a 10-part video series on how I figure it out.
The first 9 parts are you sitting there thinking, looking at it.
Why did I do this in the first place? So right now we're taking the hood latch assembly off. Just a few bolts. Just take this whole bracket assembly off in one piece. And then fish the cable through. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think to paint this booster when we first did this big brake swap. It's a reman unit. If I continue with this setup, I'll have to sand all this crap off and paint it so it'll look nice and pretty after the fact. So if you guys haven't checked out the video where we did the big brake kit, be sure to look it up. It's pretty cool. Ended up using a Z32 booster and master cylinder, and it basically is plug and play in this car. You just have to cut down the studs on the back by like, I think I remember it was like an inch or so. But the lines just get pulled just a little bit more this way, but for all intents and purposes, it's totally plug and play.
Just got that wrapped up, so
Okay.
basically.
So Rob's working on getting the clutch damper undone. While he does that, I'm gonna undo the 4 nuts holding the brake booster in so we can get that out. Lights at the end of the tunnel. It's kind of a pain to get this stuff off. There's forks that attach to the pedal, like one for the booster and one for the clutch master cylinder, and it's just not a whole lot of room to work underneath that dash.
There you go.
So we are done. It was a very productive day. Got the entire engine base stripped out, and it's looking really, really good. The next thing is going to be getting this thing back outside, trying to find a water source and give it a thorough cleaning with a lot of degreaser. There's still some little odds and ends here and there that I'd need to pull out, but this is pretty much it. We'll probably get this battery tray out in the next video, but I need to remove the entire front suspension because my tentative plan for painting all of this is to use the lift, so I can raise and lower the car and be able to get a really thorough job from the bottom and the top, just to make this thing look as nice as it can. The nice thing about having the lift too is we can pretty much take out the entire front suspension in one go. Just undo whatever we need to undo, raise the car up, and let the suspension just stay on the ground. It'll also give us a really good opportunity to go ahead and swap in that R33 subframe, put new steering rack bushings, and again, make sure everything is cleaned up and replace, whatever worn components need to be replaced so it's all nice and fresh. Of course, we got to take out the power brace and the sway bar as well. I had a question for you guys though. So in one of my previous videos of rebuilding the front suspension, I had the original sway bar powder coated and put some polyurethane bushings in there, but I was wondering if any of you have had experience with other aftermarket sway bar alternatives that, would be a nice upgrade over this setup, because obviously right now it would be really easy to do, so let me know in the comments below. Anyway, guys, that wraps up the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like below, and if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so because we have a lot more where that came from. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.